should come into the meeting. Yeah. And we are now recording. So can you please tell us your name?
My name is Gerald Allen Etheridge.
And when's your birthday?
10/26/37.
And how old are you now?
I'm 82 years old. I'll be 83 in October.
And how many kids do you have?
I have four kids. I mean, 4 kids. One's deceased.
And the names?
Tammy, Timothy, and Troy, and Gerald.
Okay. And what are the names of your parents?
Carrie Etheridge and Emmett Etheridge.
And what was Carrie's maiden name?
Her maiden name was Gleghorn.
Okay. And can you tell me something that you remember about your mom?
My mother, I remember a couple things. One thing was I used to sing quite a bit for her, and she enjoyed my singing. And also she, when she went to the hospital, I can remember I was in church, and then when I came home, I grabbed her coat from upstairs, and I knew that she had died. She was in the hospital at the time, and then I knew she had died, and I just had a sense in my mind that my mother had died, and that's a sad thing to remember, but I can recall that.
Why was she in the hospital?
She had a tumor. Well, the doctor said she had, well, this is back in the day. This is back in the 50s. And Dr. Cornelius said that she had we had a doctor down in Curry. Well, I was born in Horning, in Pittsburgh. And it was a little mining town. And Dr. Cornelius, he was our doctor, and he used to come to the house all the time. In those days, the doctor would come to your home, and they would administer anything that was needed to be done. So he had put her in the hospital because he thought it was a tumor. But now she come to find out it was cancerous, whatever it was, but she died from the complications. So this was the thing that they said it was a tumor. So later on they said it was cancerous, but
well, they didn't know. They probably didn't know they knew there was a tumor.
Right. In those days, it was years ago.
Well, can you remember something before that happened? Can you tell me your favorite meal that she cooked?
Well, I'm gonna tell you, I was raised up on beans, navy bean, lima beans, pinto beans, like that. And then we used to have ham hocks and different types of pork because we had a gentleman who used to raise hogs and stuff like that. And we used to get the ingredients from him for different meats and stuff. So now we didn't have to really buy a lot because in those days we couldn't afford it anyhow. So that's why I was raised up mostly with beans. And then like on Sundays, our favorite meal was chicken.
Okay.
Because everybody raised chickens around here, so that was our favorite meal for Sunday dinner.
Have some sort of baked or fried chicken.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Can you tell me a story about your dad?
My dad, I didn't know too much about him because I was sort of young, but he worked in the mines, and he would come in from work a lot of times, and then he would just lay down on the couch because we had 6 in the family, so he wouldn't go upstairs. He would just stay downstairs on the couch, and he would rest there. But he would always bring candy in, like the little jelly snacks, you know, from the mine, and he used to give them to us all the time. And I don't know too much about him, but he was always nice to the kids. I mean, all the kids. And like I say, he was a quiet man, but I don't know too much about him. That's just that him coming from work, and I knew he had candy for us.
I hear you. I hear you. Can you tell me the names of you had how many brothers and sisters?
I had let's see, Emmett. He was the oldest. He's deceased. Ricky, he's deceased. Raymond, he's deceased. That's 3.
Well, how much older than them are you than
my brother Jack, he would be 90. Let's see, I'm trying, 90, almost 96, I think. Ricky would be 94 if he was living. Raymond, he just deceased in June. He was 83.
Okay.
And he was going to be 84 in February. I'll be 83 in October. And then there's Danny. He's deceased. He would be, let's see, 80, going on 80 right now. Gladys, she's deceased. She would be 70, almost 79, I think. Anne-Marie is 70. How old is Anne-Marie, honey?
I think she's 72.
72. And my youngest brother is 60.
No, Jimmy's 70.
Jimmy is 70.
And yeah. You guys all have the same mom. Carrie's all different dads.
Anne-Marie and Jimmy, well, their father is different. They were from another man, in other words.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
They have the same mother.
Yeah, you guys all have the same mom.
Yeah, right.
And
but different dad.
Yeah, your father passed away before your mother.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And how old were you when your father passed?
I guess I was 9 years old.
Okay, and then your mom passed when you were how old?
I guess I was going on.
I think you said you was 14.
Yeah, 14, because I was going to the Sunrise Baptist Church at the time. I was singing in the choir down there. So yeah.
Okay. So do you remember your first job that you had? Ever, the first job that you had, and how?
Well, yeah. Well, see, my real job I had when I worked at the Mount Lebanon car wash. But I used to work part-time with my oldest brother. He worked on a garbage truck, and I used to help him periodically, you know, on Saturdays Saturdays when they had to work. I worked sometime on a Saturday, after school because I couldn't do it, during the week, but I could work with them on the weekends.
Do you remember how old you were, Dad?
Oh, well, I was young then. I'm maybe 13, 14.
Okay.
But I had to help my brother.
I remember.
My oldest brother quit school because he had, after Dad died, he had to quit school. He was in the 10th grade.
And this was Emmett, right?
But he was very knowledgeable in school, and he had a high IQ from the from the 7th grade to the 9th grade. 7th grade. They he's supposed to go to the 7th grade, but they put him in the 8th grade because he was knowledgeable. So they skipped the grade for him, so they put him in the 8th grade. But he had to quit school when he was in the 10th grade. But he was my oldest brother. He was good in softball. He played for the Hornets, and they was very active then. He could have got a scholarship. He could have played with the Homestead Braves. Because they had a team in that era. And he was a good ball player. And then I used to envy him because he was such a nice to try to play softball, baseball and all that, when I was younger. So it was just one of those things that me growing up with my older brother, he was working and then I was trying to help out as much as I could, around the household.
Yeah, well, I remember you telling me something about doing the cleaning out the outhouses.
Oh, yeah, we had an old outhouse years ago, and that's where we took care of our things we had to do when we had to go to the bathroom. We would go out to the outhouse, and then at nighttime, we had they called them in those days slop jars. It's a slop bucket, where you would urinate in, and then you would empty it out in the morning. But a lot of times when you couldn't hold it, you had to do other things. So, but my mama would always go on us, if you got to do something else, go out there to the outhouse. That's just for urination. We'd all say, yeah, but we'd all do the opposite, sometimes.
It's dark and cold outside, so sometimes you gotta do what
in
you
the
gotta do.
especially in the wintertime, we hated it, but we used to keep it clean, we used to scrub it out every weekend. And I used to work on they had a honey dipper truck where now they used to clean out the toilets and stuff, and then a big hose there to put down in there. I'm gonna tell you, I used to work with this guy on a honey dipper truck.
Okay.
Yeah, he used to pay me 50 cents a day.
How old were you then, Dad?
Huh?
How old were you then?
Oh, I was young. Sure, I was 10, 11 years old.
You had to be for you to be okay with 50 cents a day, but I guess back in the day that wasn't bad.
Yeah, that was a lot of money then.
Oh, yeah. I remember my mother telling me she used to work all week for $2.25.
and I used to buy cigarettes for my mother. She was a smoker. She never inhaled. She was always just, taking just blow out the smoke, like she was smoking. But I used to have to walk down to the store. We had a dirt road in those days, we didn't have those cement and stuff. You know, this was in the black neighborhood mostly. You know, there was no whites
Was
there, just all
was
blacks.
this down in Curry, Dad?
Huh? Yes,
Was
this
this
is
Curry?
down in Horning. Yeah, yeah, Horning. Yeah,
Okay.
that was the name of. Well, we call it. Well, they call it the Patch. It was called the Patch.
Okay.
And Bethel, Coverdale wasn't too far from here, which is Bethel. That's in Bethel. We was
Okay.
involved with. But they were just like little mining towns, right, more or less. And that's where we congregated. But I used to go down to the store to buy my mother's cigarettes. And they cost then, I think it was 17 cents a pack. And they would put 3 cents in the package, you know, when you brought them. And she used to always buy Lucky Strikes.
Okay.
Lucky Strikes for, but I had to have a note, you know, to assure them that they were from my mother, you know, because we weren't allowed to buy them, you know, even in those days, you know, but as long as you had a note from your mother, you know, they knew her writing and stuff, you know, I could get them for her. So that was it, you know, for the prices, and the prices were real cheap, and you know, and then the labor was real cheap too in those days. I worked for Mr. McCrae too when I was younger. He had a garbage route. Before that I started carrying garbage for my brother, Mr. McCrae had a garbage route where he picked up Brentwood, parts of Whitehall, all around Carrick. He used to pick up a lot of places as far as rubbish and stuff. He had a pretty good business, you know, and I used to go around with him so I could pick up the garbage and stuff. You know, we had to pack it up on a truck and stuff, you know, like in boxes and stuff like that. You know, like in bars and stuff, where they go down in a lot of bars there, you know, pick up stuff, you know, downstairs and throw them in the truck. And there he paid me, I think it was a quarter an hour, and then I'd work about maybe 3 to 4 hours. I make almost $1 sometimes.
That
But
was
that
good
was big,
that day though.
and then I bring money home, and then I give Mama most of it, you know. Then I might keep about 20 cents for the movies. I used to go down to the movie down in Curry. They had a movie down there that we used to walk down there. But it's about a mile or so. I just walked down to the movies and we'd go to the movies and stuff like that. But let me get back to now. When I was younger, I was singing a lot, and then we picked up a group, and then we started singing spirituals around different churches. And there was a guy from Coverdale, which is in Bethel. His name was Larry Reynolds. He was my best buddy. He's deceased too. But we sang with the Dells at first. You know, we was pretty good. You know, we used to go around singing in different places, spirituals and stuff like that.
How old were you, Dad?
Huh?
How old were you when you were doing this?
Well, I was young, about 15, 16. Yeah, 14, 15. Yeah, around the same age when I was working with my brother and stuff like that. Almost the same age, you know. But I was doing different things, you know, trying to keep myself busy. And I was in the sports too. You know, I was boxing a little bit. Well, I was doing a multiple thing, you know, because in those days, you had to take care of yourself, fighting and stuff, you know. So I'd be out there in the street and they'd be picking at me all the time because I used to stutter somewhat, which I still do, but they used to get on me about stuttering, so they used to pick on me all the time. So I started going to the gym to learn how to defend myself, which I did pretty much, and they stopped messing with me. They said, "Watch out for Jerry." Yeah, but I wasn't playing anymore. I said, "You ain't be beating up on me anymore." So I got rid of that episode, and I was singing some, and
Well, even with your stutter though, Dad, you still managed to sing and sing quite well.
well, my mother said everything. My mother told me when I was little, I used to stutter, and she said, "If you can't say it, sing it." That's what Mom always said. So I just started singing. He said, "Oh, you got a nice voice." So like anytime that I had to say something, I start singing. That's how I started, I think, mostly, I think, yeah.
Oh wow.
So I still stabber a lot, you know, well enough, I went into the service, I got pretty much out of it, you know, and I did my tours there. I was in Vietnam a couple times and conflicts. I had my training at Fort North, Kentucky. It was the 4th Armor Division.
Okay, Dad, you know what? We're gonna let's save that for our next talk. And
Okay.
we'll talk maybe a little bit more about, you know, what you did in high school.
Oh, okay.
And you know what I mean, and get a little bit more, like, try to keep it in line. So I'm gonna go ahead. So say goodbye.
Well, I'm gonna say goodbye right now. I have a lot more to say, but I'm trying to think about different episodes that I did in my life, and there's a whole lot that I did. But I just want you to know that I'm glad that you are listening and trying to understand my ways and my things that I did in my life. And I'm married now and happy. And her name is Priscilla Rivera. Her name now is Priscilla Etheridge.
And just wish everybody a happy July 4th.
Happy holiday. This is the 4th of July. And they have a virus out now, and so I'm staying in pretty much. So thank you for listening, and happy holiday. Bye.